Alright, in this video I'm going to cover the Fueled Racing rear sump oil pan. All of Fueled Racing oil pans will come with 6 independent trap doors. You can see that they're full floating trap doors. There are a total of 4 in a diamond shape in the sump you can see, and then there's always one cutting the side sump in half, so that whenever you're under any type of specific directional acceleration, the trap doors will either open or close, keeping the oil at the pickup tube. These trap doors are so effective that we've got guys that have run in FD for decades using nothing more than the oil pan, no AccuSump or accumulators of any kind, and they're able to do that without losing oil pressure. So while we always recommend running an AccuSump, it just gives you an idea of how effective these oil pans actually are. The oil pan pickup tubes are going to have a full screen at the pickup. They're going to be fabricated specifically for these oil pans. The oil pans come with obviously filter mount, all of the fittings needed. It will come with stainless self-tappers. I don't like self-tappers, but when we sent the nut zerks previously, customers complained they didn't know how to use them, weren't sure what they were. If you prefer nut zerks as I do, just let us know when you order the kit and we'll substitute those free of charge. Inside the other bag here, you're going to have a full hardware kit. It comes with all the studs to replace your factory hardware and the nuts to install it. One thing you need to always keep in mind with LS oil pans is the rear 6mm studs. Do not over torque them. It's only 118 inch-pounds. The rest of the hardware is your 8mm studs, and those torque to 18 foot-pounds. We include the O-ring for the oil pickup tube. It's in this envelope here. And you have your plugs. Half MPT plugs will plug the oil return ports, one on each side of the sump. And then an 1/8 MPT plug. If you decide you're not going to run an oil temperature sensor, then you would just use that to plug the oil temperature sensor bung in the rear. We send it with your choice of either assembled or unassembled oil lines based on whether you're going to run, say, an oil cooler, AccuSump, accumulator, whatever the case may be. All of our fittings are obviously Fergola, same thing with the hose. That's all we use in all of our kits is Fergola. Very high end, not cheap, but it is extremely reliable. We haven't had the double swivel fittings leak. These are all double swivels, and with Fergola we just don't have to worry about them leaking like we do with some of the other companies that we've tried in the past. So if you get unassembled hoses, you get all the same hose ends and one large uncut piece of 6 feet of -10 hose. All of our oil pans are going to have a oil dipstick bung. This is the oil dipstick bung here. On the rear sump pans, you want to make sure you're running a short body GM starter, so the newer style starters, or a high torque mini starter. If you're running an old large body starter, it's going to interfere with your dipstick. And so that cannot be used with this oil pan. You need to run a high torque mini starter or one of the small body newer starters. I recommend the high torque mini starters like the CVR 5414 or a Power Master. I think it's a 9606, something like that. Those starters use a Hitachi motor and they just last way longer. You know, they're about $200 and they typically last 3 to 4 times as long as the OEM starter does. So they're really good value and they work well. Plus they're much more powerful than the OEM starter. So if you're running a high compression engine or something like that, it'll have you covered there. So I think that pretty much covers the basics of our oil pan. Any questions, obviously give us a call, 480-897-0712, or shoot us an email at fueledracingusa@gmail.com.